All right, welcome back. Today we're focusing on the teacher strike, the issues pertaining to the education sector in this country. Yesterday we had the NUT chairperson, that is Wilson Sossion. Today we want to talk to KUPPET, and we have the Secretary General, Moses Nthurima, to tell us about how far they've gone in their push for allowances. Welcome to the Power Breakfast Show.
Thank you very much, Bwana Mukase.
Thank you so much.
And Bwana Njau, for inviting us here this morning.
Yesterday,
the strike is on and the teachers are out of schools.
Nati seems to think that there's no strike. Anyway, yesterday he said, Sossion, his argument was this, and teachers are meeting in Mombasa. They have a conference, an annual conference in Mombasa. How do you call a strike when the head teachers are there? Suppose schools are ruined. Suppose there is the destruction of property and the headmasters are not there to check them. Who will be responsible?
That is simplistic, because Sossion is very much aware that the property, the students, belongs to the Board of Governors. So when we go on strike, the Board of Governors are supposed to take over schools, not the principals, because the principals are supposed to have taken off to go and look for money. So when he says that...
To go and look for money where?
From the government. You know, teachers are in the streets. They are everywhere looking for money. Yeah. You could see yesterday teachers demonstrating in various parts of the country yesterday.
But there was a spot check that was actually done that indicated that learning in actually most schools was moving on. How effective?
How effective, yes.
There are a number of categories of teachers in our secondary schools, unlike primary schools. We have BOG teachers who are in schools.
We have Board of Governors.
Board of Governors who are employed. In fact, they are almost a half of the rest of the teachers. There are also teachers on TP. Our members, we believe, and we are very sure that they are out. They are at their homes and they are on strike.
How many teachers, high school teachers and post-secondary teachers, belong to KUPPET, and how many belong to NAT, according to your statistics? Because you had some figures yesterday from Sossion. Tell us the figures.
To the best of my knowledge, post-primary teachers are 64,000 teachers. We have 64,000 who are employed by the TSC. And the KUPPET has a membership of 52,000. So when he talked of 75,000, I didn't know where he got the figures. And the majority of our members and teachers who are in post-primary institutions are members of KUPPET. I don't know how many members are left in NAT today.
But NAT has 200,000 members.
That is words on the mouth. To the best of my knowledge, today, Bwana Njau, I know that there are 163,000 members of NAT. There are some teachers who are unionless. The rest are members of KUPPET.
Just looking at the place of KUPPET in the whole education sector, there was a claim that was made yesterday by Wilson that KUPPET was actually formed by people who failed in the NAT election. So they decided
the current officials.
Absolutely.
The current officials are people who went for NAT elections. Then they lost. Then they went to KUPPET.
Yes. Is that true?
Let me tell you this without fear of contradiction. KUPPET was born in 1998.
Through the instigation of former President Moi.
It was
formed during a school strike.
The people who made KUPPET to be born is KNUT itself. It locked out secondary school teachers out of leadership. Because whenever you went for elections, they would start singing secondary, primary, and then you realize that the tyranny of numbers could not allow us to be heard.
That we are wrong. Absolutely.
And that is why we were born, so that we can agitate the interests of our members.
Mr. Secretary General, you are absolutely not right.
Yeah.
Mr. Sossion himself is a chemistry teacher in a high school, the chairman of NAT, is not a primary school teacher. So when you talk about the terrain of numbers, he was elected by the majority of primary school teachers. He elected, not appointed. Mr. Sosion, chemistry teacher in high school.
Let me tell you, my brother.
Yes.
Sosion was not initially a secondary school teacher. He was an A-level teacher who was teaching in primary. And he went through the systems of parallel studies. And then that is how he went to secondary schools. So he has got his orientation from the primary. And they regard him as a primary school teacher. Indeed he is, because he trained as a P1.
Right.
Yeah.
But perhaps as we look forward, because even yesterday, if you listened to the speech by President Uhuru Kenyatta during the national prayer moment, it was very clear that we need to steer away from all these demands because we need to focus on the development of this country. Do you have any compromise so far, or you're just saying it is my way or the highway?
You see, we cannot develop this country when so many of us are wallowing in poverty. You cannot tell somebody in an empty stomach, can we start developing this country? Some people are doing so well, like members of parliament. They are earning a lot of money. Teachers are toiling day and night to create human resource in this country. They are suffering. They cannot educate their children. Now, when the president says that we want to develop, how do we develop? These people are suffering. They have nothing to eat. They cannot educate their children. How do they develop? And you know,
why don't you tell the truth?
Yeah.
Which teacher, a secondary school teacher, cannot afford school fees?
They cannot.
In the school they teach.
If you look at their pay slips, you will be surprised that the deductions that, you know, if you are earning about 30 or 40,000, what is left on the pay slip is only 5,000. How do you go to school? How do you eat? You have borrowed, you know, debts ranging from the banks to the vendors of milk. And you are being called a secondary school teacher who has gone through the system of education up to the degree, to the master's degree and so on.
You know,
we cannot accept.
Are you talking about this country or another country?
I'm talking about this country.
I used to be a teacher. I thought what you're describing is not.
No, that time was then. That time was then.
Reality.
Things were better then.
How could they have been
today,
better? I used to earn 3,200 bob.
Yeah, that was then. 3,000 now is not even enough for breakfast. Times have changed.
But you're earning 40,000.
40,000?
We used to earn 4,000.
40,000 is just Pwananjao, seriously speaking. If you are not earning in excess of 100,000, you are not living, you are just existing.
Going back to what Mwakazi was saying, if you are, how many teachers total, the teachers, the primary school teachers and the secondary schools, then that number, and there's kind of salary you are talking about, which economy is going to sustain that?
It is not about numbers. It is about individual rights. Look at Mr. Nthurima as Nthurima. If I'm a teacher, which I am, Mr. Njau is a teacher. Look at Mr. Njau as a teacher. Don't look at the numbers, because that is where the government is going wrong. When you look at the numbers and you start fearing that they may take all the money, that is wrong, because
education, the budget,
we have got individual rights.
In the budget, education gets the topmost.
Yes, it does.
Yeah. So for you to get more, what are you going to do to give to agriculture?
For this country to develop, we must create human resource. And that is where we should invest more.
And if
you are not investing,
what we are calling human resource is not even human resource. I was reading the Standard this morning and yesterday about the people who go through your system.
Yeah.
They graduate and go through your secondary school or primary school, they end up being unemployed. So it is not human resource we are creating.
My brother, you know the value addition is the most important thing. For us, in primary, in secondary, we add value. People read, people opens up their minds, and they become people of the world, not villagers. And that is what we mean by creating human resource.
Actually, what we have described you are not doing is exactly what we are doing, creating villagers.
Not villagers.
Yeah.
No, it's not
the
villagers.
Education system today, you go to school in Meru, You go to university in Meru, you only come to Nairobi maybe once in a year.
You see, that was a problem of a system.
That's the problem.
But we are changing now because
that is what we are creating.
People are moving.
Villagers.
For example, myself, I went to study at Bungoma. I was in Bungoma for my A levels.
Yeah, that time.
Which means,
if it was no, you never gone to Bungoma for A levels.
Today, the system has changed.
Primary school.
We have created more national schools.
Meru University.
We have created more national schools, and now our children can interact with the rest of the community. Which
now, just to look at the way forward.
Yeah.
The government recently said they will take 2 billion from the tourism docket, 2 billion from the industrialization docket, 4 billion, pump it to the education docket. Today you have
they have been offered 4 billion.
Yeah, 4 billion. 4 billion already.
Yeah.
Today you have a meeting with a mediator from the government side. Will we be talking about a strike again?
Yeah.
My brother, what we are looking for is not 4 billion. If the government is not ready today to give us 20.8 billion to harmonize commute allowance, to harmonize leave allowance. We have never enjoyed leave allowance when other civil servants have been enjoying. To harmonize responsibility allowance. Remember, primary school heads and deputies have been earning responsibility allowance. Secondary school heads, deputies, HODs have never earned any allowance. House allowance, medical allowance, we shall not go back to school.
Some of those allowances are talking to them, and I was telling the same to your chairman. Those are frivolous allowances.
What do you mean? Do you want to mean that teachers don't need, to go to better hospitals?
First of all, leave.
Yes.
Leave allowance. What is leave for a secondary school teacher?
You know, teachers don't go for leaves.
They are always out.
No.
They
no.
teach. They have 3 months.
The 3 months that
3 months of the year. They are on leave.
The 3 months that the schools are closed, it is only the students who are supposed to be on leave.
You know, I was a teacher.
You are, yes.
Yeah. There was nothing used to do. Once the school is closed, you go home.
Did you used to have duties
except
during
when
the holidays?
Duty. You have a duty only maybe.
But what does it mean?
That's a duty.
If the headmaster or the principal say, now you come back, will you say I'm not coming back because you are not?
Come to do what? Unless I go to a shamba. Will you tell me to go back to a school? I am supposed to be teaching something.
Being absent from school doesn't mean that you are not on duty. Teachers are permanently on duty. So
what is the core business of a teacher?
If you want
to be on duty?
Sorry.
The core business is it to be on duty? The core business of a teacher to teach and mark books.
No. What I'm saying is this, Bananjao, that teachers do not go for leaves.
They have 3 months leave every year.
When there is a holiday,
yes,
it is only the students who are allowed to go for holidays. Teachers are working. Look at during the holidays.
Tell me this.
Yeah.
When teachers organize trip to Dubai or South Africa during holidays, are they now working? Because I've seen many organize, particularly in Meru, where you come from. Teachers organize themselves to go to South Africa or Dubai during holiday. Tell me what teaching went to do in Dubai.
But teachers on duty.
Teachers in Dubai, what teaching are they doing there?
But of course there are weekends, Bananjao.
They are not. They go there for a month.
When the students are not in school,
yes,
you can take some times out.
So
but that doesn't mean that you are not on duty.
Did they apply for leave?
Teachers, yes. If you want to go for a leave, you apply for a leave during the holiday. You cannot get it in between the terms. Yes.
Let us be honest with ourselves.
We are very honest, Bananjao. Teachers are permanently on duty. And this one I want to say without fear of contradiction, that if you want to go for leave, you have to apply for it. And that is why we are asking the government now to pay teachers leave allowance. And I want to remind you, in 1981, Warui Commission recommended that teachers must get leave allowance. Up to date, we have not gotten it. But the civil servants started getting it.
Yeah, because civil servants go on leave and apply for leave. Teachers don't apply for leave. They go on leave automatically. When students
it is not automatic. You are supposed to be your duty until you ask for it.
Even commute allowance.
Look at the principals. When are they on leave? Except you know, occasionally when they go for their
But
meetings.
how many principals are there? We are talking about principals or people who do administration, not an ordinary teacher.
But we are talking about a leave as a right. If you are told you are on duty,
Yes.
you can be called any time to go and undertake some task.
You can.
Yes.
But you are not always called. Anyway, you don't what about house allowance? Most teachers live in school compound.
There are no
houses provided. Many of them.
You
No,
know-
I'm not 100%. Now
Wananjao,
those the kind of teachers, what kind of allowance do they want?
Wananjao,
Yes.
a house is a constitutional right.
They live in institutional houses owned by schools.
We need decent housing.
They are very
Go to
decent.
most of the schools and find that there are no houses. Some are shanties where teachers are being housed.
When I was a
You
teacher,
need to
when
own a
I was a
house.
teacher, I used to have a 3-bedroom house, although I was a bachelor.
But those were those days.
The
Today
houses,
there are no
the
houses.
houses
in
are
this
still there.
They are not.
Those houses are
They
still
are
at
not.
Kangaroo.
Yeah.
They're still at Kangaroo.
These
They
are-
have not been demolished.
You know, this is a constitutional right now, Wananjao. Unlike that time, teachers need to have decent housing. And in fact, the person who is at Lodwar is supposed to earn more in terms of house allowance
I understand
than a person who is in Nairobi.
Now,
Yeah.
let us look at the whole idea of you going on strike
Yeah.
and the whole idea of the government coming in to meet your demands.
Yeah.
We had NUT chairperson yesterday, and he was basically talking about 47 billion
Yeah.
from 1997.
Yeah.
They have not been sorted out.
Yeah.
You're talking about 20 billion
Yeah.
that you need from the government.
Yeah.
Different demands.
Yeah.
All focusing on teachers.
Yeah.
How do you expect the government to handle that?
I want to say this. Nat is not sincere. Because a pregnancy that was conceived 16 years ago, up to date, it has not been born. These guys went and varied the legal notice number 534. So legal notice number 534 does not exist. What exists is the legal notice number 16, which they used to vary 534, and they signed. So what they are supposed to be talking about is legal notice number 16, which the government has implemented almost 90%. So when they are talking about legal notice, I think they are mocking teachers because that legal notice does not exist.
What are you saying? That the Kenya National Union of Teachers has no basis calling for a strike? Is that your argument?
I'm not saying they have no basis, because most of the things they are talking about is the same things we are talking about. But when they talk about legal notice that does not exist, surely they are lying to the teachers. Let them focus on the allowances of teachers. Today we have what we call SRC, the Salaries and Remuneration Commission.
Yes.
It is the one that is supposed to advise the government over the salaries.
Yes.
So when they go to pick documents from the archives and they are telling teachers these are agreements, yet these agreements were varied by the parties without being coerced, they are not being sincere. For us, we are saying that this you know, since 2010, we have been talking about harmonization, because we know there is no way the government will accept to pay, you know, to give allowances and pay more than they are paying other sectors. We are comparing ourselves with the other sectors. Now, when Nat talks about legal notice, I think that is diversionary, because legal notice 534 does not exist.
Even that harmonization I'm talking about.
Yeah.
If I go to university,
Yeah.
I study a degree.
Yeah.
One becomes a teacher. We have the same university, we got a degree, all of us.
Yeah.
One becomes a teacher, the other becomes a DO.
Mm.
Surely you cannot compare, you can't harmonize. These are totally different things.
No, we are supposed to be, we went to the same colleges.
Yes, but you are doing
same
different
universities, not doing the same different things.
You are doing different things.
We want to look at
You are same for some, but when
the level, you know, the playing ground. You know, when this, I mean, Salaries and Remuneration Commission has been formed, it means there is a reason why they have been formed.
Yeah.
So that they can harmonize salaries of the
Yes.
workers in this country.
Yeah.
Because if I'm a graduate, I go to the judiciary, I start earning 3 times more than a graduate who trained as a teacher
Yes.
and is now in school and earning less by 3 times. You know that one is a basis for a quarrel in this country. So for us to harmonize disparities, we must go to Salaries and Remuneration Commission.
But that is what the TSC has done. They have taken your problems to the Salaries and Remuneration Commission so
Yes,
that they can advise. But you are saying, no, you don't want that.
But how long do they take to advise? In December, we submitted our proposals to the TSC for onwards transmission to the Salaries and Remuneration Commission. They indeed. But the Salaries and Remuneration Commission did not come back to the TSC. So for the teachers, what do? We cannot be heard by the TSC. The TSC says we have washed our hands. The Salaries and the Remuneration Commission is not available.
What do you mean it's not? Sarah is very much.
We have been writing to her that why don't you make a recommendation over this? She has not. So for us, it is the strike, and that is the language that the government understands.
Now, there's a concern here. Of course, KUPPET and NUT all claim to be fighting for the rights of teachers.
Yeah.
My concern is this: how do you expect the government to handle your problems when both of you are talking absolutely differently? One union this, the other union that. How do you
Johnson,
expect
we
that
are
to be
not
sorted
speaking
out?
different language. The war you see between KUPPET and the NAT is the war of union dues, because we are drawing from the same membership. But what I would like to advise KNUT is that we must fight for the interests of the teachers when we are together. But when they are feeling, they have bad feeling about KUPPET, and yet, this is a pluralistic world where very many unions are coming up. Even nursery school teachers have a union. Special teachers now have got a union, and they will draw from the teachers. What we are supposed to be competing about is how do we make our members happy in their jobs. It's not about union dues. You cannot dismiss KUPPET, because KUPPET is a creature of statute, just like NAT is. So what we are seeing with NAT is, some characters have got inflated ego, because when they talk about we are the only people who can call for the strikes, we are giant. Where is giant? Teachers are impoverished, and you have been there for years. You have done nothing. So what I would advise them is that they should join hands with others. I saw them condemning civil societies. If it were not for civil societies, where would this country be? You cannot champion the rights of others when your ego is too large for yourself. You must calm down and reason with other people so that we move towards one direction. So the demands are the same. But these people are talking about legal notice that does not exist. They varied the legal notice. It is not there. Let them stop lying to teachers. Let them talk about harmonization, because that is the language they are avoiding, because KUPPET is using it.
Let me ask you this. Yeah. If the government says we don't have the money, like Moi said, hatuna pesa.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And this government of President Kenyatta says, look, much as I would like to pay the teachers, the economy cannot afford that. That's what he's saying this morning. And then, of course, he says, okay, let them go on. How sustainable is that going? Is that not going to be attrition? That, are you able to sustain the teachers when the salaries, the TSC does not pay them because they didn't teach at the end of the month? Because when I asked Sosion yesterday, he says they have advised the teachers to keep their June salaries proper. Pay your houses and pay your commitments for some time.
For 3 months they can sustain.
Because it is going to be the father of the strikes. Now you have started your mother of strikes.
Yeah.
For how long can you sustain that? Without any salary, at the end of the month, you say, I'm competition. If they went to the classroom and they find out so-and-so did not teach, so-and-so did not teach, that one taught, pay that one. We are competition. This one, they go to schools and say, oh, look, the ones who will not get the salary will say, apana, darudi.
The most important thing is a resolve that we are fighting.
It is resolved now because it's the beginning. What about at the end of the month when you get no salary?
Teachers have resolved to go on strike. Period. And that is where we begin.
There will be no attrition. There is no going to be people going to go back.
You know, there are different ways of handling the government.
Yes.
The first
tell me
round,
about that scenario. Yeah. Yeah.
The first round of our strike was to have teachers out of class. The second one is now to have them out in the demonstrations, and you see them today.
Yes.
There will be countrywide demonstrations today.
Yes.
The third phase is going to be a very cruel phase, and the government will not allow it. I don't want to disclose, but the teachers are going to be very cruel dealing with this. We shall close institutions and do other things that the government will not wish to partake.
No, but
so we are going to force the
picketing is allowed.
Yeah, it's allowed.
But you cannot go and close schools because there are so many teachers who are unemployed. Many.
Very many. Yeah.
What the TSC and the Board of Governors can do, if I was chairman of a Board of Governors of school, just get those teachers in the villages who are not employed. You stay in Nje. That's salary of yours. You can't let them teach whatever. You'll find teachers going back.
It is only in a banana republic where those things can be done. There is a system of recruiting teachers. You cannot tell teachers to go away.
The board can.
They have got rights. You know, there are courts in this country. If you joke around, you just go to court and get orders.
Court processes stay.
They don't. These days you go to court and obtain orders.
The question I'm asking is KUPPET able to sustain teachers for 3 months on a strike?
They can sustain.
Even when you're talking about
teachers have
cruelty.
resolved to go on strike to fight for their demands. It doesn't matter how long it takes.
When
you say that a salary for this month and you're earning about 5,000 on your payslip, does it even take you 2 days? It doesn't.
But
so we
5,000 having paid other debts. You know now you have some rent to pay. You are living in a house.
Yeah.
You didn't pay rent. They wanted to throw you out. You went and borrowed some money to buy nyama last month. When nyama anakuuliza, where is my nyama? You took my nyama.
Yeah.
The salary did not come. You will see the teachers going back.
We shall know how to handle those debts.
Tell me how you're going to sustain that.
You cannot say that the teachers are living on a salary alone. I mean,
they are running matatus, of course. Why don't you be honest?
I'm not saying that they are running matatus.
They are not. That's where the problem is.
You know, you are taking teachers to be paupers. They are not paupers.
But that's what you have said.
They come from somewhere where they have this, they have a cow, they have, we are going to fight on.
You are contradicting yourself.
Yeah.
You are saying teachers are not paupers and teachers are paupers.
Yeah.
If they are not dependent only on salary,
yeah,
they will say they have cows, they are farmers.
Yeah.
Which means apart from going to teach, they are going to milk cows.
Yeah, what's wrong with
they are running matatus instead of they are running a kiosk, and you want and I want us to pay them for running their kiosk.
What do you mean? What do you mean? You don't want
instead of marking school.
Are you saying that teachers should not anything at all? Should not own anything,
I'm not
even
so.
From their proceeds?
I'm not saying so.
Yeah,
I'm not saying so.
Yeah.
But it's your contradiction.
I'm not contradicting. I'm telling you that teachers also need to own.
Yes.
And they do own things.
Yes.
They own properties.
Yes.
And that is their right. So you cannot condemn them that they are asking for salaries when they have matatus. Why are you condemning them? And yet other workers also owns. You go to work so that you can own. And that is exactly what they do. But when they demand for salaries, you tell them, but you people have matatus. No, that is not right. It is not right.
I'm not the one saying so. You are the one who says they earn 5,000.
Yeah, they earn 5,000. When you look at all the deductions.
So actually, what you are saying, that teachers can stay without a job. They don't have to work. They can run kiosks and run matatus and run.
No, I'm not saying
they don't have to work.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that we can sustain ourselves in the strike with what we have.
Yeah, there was a concern that was raised by the Parents and Teachers Association chairperson, Nathan Baraza. He was of the view that he is not in support of the strike. What do you have to say to that?
We don't need the support of some busy bodies like Parent Teachers Association. We don't even know who elected them. Where do they come from? We don't know. We don't need their support.
But every school has a PTA.
They are there, yes, but
every school has a PTA.
When does it make sense to us when we go on strike? When we move to ask for money from the government, we don't rely on anybody because we know that when we move we shall use our resources to ensure that we get what we want. So Barasa will represent whoever he represents, wherever he is. We don't need it.
When you used to teach, was there no PTA? Was there not no PTA in your school? Where you teach?
But the PTA does not have a bearing when I'm fighting for my rights.
The PTA, they are the ones who take care of the interest of the students.
Yes, but
to ensure that teachers teach, they don't run kiosk.
My friend, what are you saying?
PTA,
I don't understand you.
Yeah, the role of PTA is to ensure that schools are managed properly by the board.
Yeah.
They count at the board.
Yeah.
The board of one BOG is there. The management of the school. PTA are the checking point that the board manages the money properly. Teachers teach because the parents are represented.
Yeah. So
you are saying that the PTA have no role in schools.
They have a role in school, but when it comes to teachers,
that they are busybodies.
Teachers are different people.
You are calling Mr. Baraza a busybody.
He is a busybody who elected him.
Effectively, what you are saying, they elected. Effectively, what you are saying, PTAs have no business in schools.
They have a business, but when it
so
comes
Mr.
to
Baraza
teachers,
is relevant.
Teachers are employed by the Teacher Service Commission. The PTAs are appointees of either parents or I don't know. Yeah. They are just appointees of parents.
Yeah.
So when the teachers want to agitate for their interests, they don't need the support of the PTA.
Now recently, our KUPPET officials met with KOTU to seek support.
Yeah.
What kind of support?
We are affiliate of KOTU. And when you want to support, you go to your affiliate so that they can also render support to you. We want them to make statement, they are with us. Just like Pusetu went to make statement, they are with the NAT. The other day they met Salem and they said, we are supporting NAT.
And who is
so you need support. You need support from various
you?
quarters. They are supporting us, yeah. We are affiliate of KOTU, and they are really supporting us. Yeah.
All right. So perhaps just a final word, because parents, teachers, even students are looking at you and they're saying, what's the way forward?
Yeah.
Even the government, what's the way forward? Final word.
The way forward is that the government needs to meet with the teachers and give them money. That is the only way forward. Because we have been fighting for this for the last 3 years. We have been talking about harmonization, and yet the civil servants are moving to get more money as we sing harmonization. So we want the government to give us money, like today, and tomorrow we shall be in school. In fact, we shall call the strike off today. If the negotiation table tell us now this is your money, we just go back and we shall continue teaching as usual.
You have given us a little money. Out of 20, you have got 4 billion.
Yeah.
4 billion.
Accept that 4 billion and go to
Yesterday we went to Parliament. We met the Finance Committee of Parliament and the Education Committee. They were telling us we have sourced a little money. Within the budgets, the government budget, there is a lot of floating money. They sat for only 2-3 days and they got 4 billion, which means if they are they are committed, they will take few hours to get the billions that we are looking for. The budget of the government is always inflated. What the ministries ask, they cannot spend. There is a lot of money. And this time we are not saying that the government should not provide laptops to the children. We want children to grow with the technology. Nobody should take the laptop money to pay teachers because there is enough money within the budget. There is money. We told them to go to the Ministry of Devolution and get money. It is over 70 billion in that ministry. And yet, the counties are getting over 200 billion. What will the ministry do with that money? It is a lot of money everywhere. There is money. Okay. Let them give us money. And we go back to school.
Money.
Yeah.
All right, so Moses Nthurima there are talking about the teacher strike and the education sector. He's the Secretary General, KUPPET. We'll be right back.